everybody, Terrence Pop here from the Lair. And, I was sitting around here working on some of my Friday material, and I had an epiphany. I'm working on this one episode called Solve for X. Basically, I'm trying to figure out mathematically, who's winning on what particular subjects or, major issues that's going on in our society today. And while I was going through that, I came up with this, this theory. So just hear me out here. If you ever watch TV, and I'm sure everybody's watched Cops or whatever, where they have the courtroom drama and all the bullshit that's going on in the criminal court, and how they they're always like worried about the constitutional rights of these fucking prisoners or whatever the fuck they did. But when you really step back and look at the big picture of the whole thing, right now, 2.5 to 3.5% of our gross population is involved in the criminal court in some way or another. So, what is the other 97% getting exposed to? They're all focusing on this 3% and all of the shit that's going on in the TV and entertainment about how they're, respecting your constitutional rights. And that might be a case for that small sliver of our culture, our civilization. Now, a lot of guys are never going to have to worry about the criminal justice system. They're going to have to pay a ticket, maybe get a show cause, appearance ticket for, maybe fighting or disturbing the peace. Not that I know anything about that or anything, I'm just saying. So you think that, you're being, everyone's following the Constitution and you're all being fair with you, right? But then you get to divorce. Divorce court. See, I was in divorce court, so I'm speaking from experience. And they could do whatever the fuck they want. They literally do. Like, my ex-wife's attorney had her saying all kinds of crazy ass shit. A lot of it's slander. You can't even sue them for slander when you get out of divorce court and civil court. It's very hard because that took place in divorce court. And it's this weird illusion because, you figure you're getting hit for child support. Okay, granted, maybe it is your kid, but it's supposedly a civil fine or a civil impounding, which, if you don't pay it, people come to your house with guns to force you to, or put you into a cell and take away your freedom. That's a criminal kind of thing. And especially if you lose your job and you go in there and you try to have it lowered, then they don't lower it, and they're threatening you with jail. That's indentured servitude right there. And the fact that maybe 2 or 3 years went by and you were actually fooled thinking the kid was yours and you find out it's not, and then you have to pay for it for the rest of your life. Now, where in any of that goddamn system are your constitutional rights? They're not in there. You're busy looking at the 3% on TV thinking everyone has these constitutional rights, but in reality, almost everybody doesn't. In fact, I would say everyone doesn't have them anymore. Okay, now I know you guys can be, holy fuck, he's right. Yes. Because it was an epiphany. It just fucking hit me. I'm like, I'm here trying to solve for X. X equals liberal over the fuck. I'm like, holy fuck. It's pretty scary, isn't it? It's crazy. Anyway, send me some of your opinions on that particular epiphany. Links below. Now let's get on with it. All right. This is actually a really good story, and this one unfolded over a long time. I would say decades. After, we did that one Yakima Ridge mission, and I was one of the few guys left. You made it to the top. The lieutenant decided to make me the RTO. Yay, great. I got to carry a radio and extra shit. And it's probably because I wasn't really fast. I wasn't really a fast runner, and, I wasn't particularly big or strong. But for whatever reason, I just didn't have any quit in me, and I still don't. So, whatever it is, fucking Pop will make it to the end, no matter how fucked up it is. I don't know what his problem was, this lieutenant. I'm not going to say his name. But he had a situation. because the company commander was from West Point, my lieutenant wasn't, and there was like some kind of disconnect going on there. Maybe he felt inferior. So he made me put in my rucksack the radio, the Prick 77, and 2 spare batteries, and, all of the goddamn, antenna bullshit. Then to carry 7-1 and, was it 350 something or other in regards to, infantry operations. Then there's fucking platoon leader. And I'm trying to tell him, like, sir, come on. These are big-ass books. I already carry the goddamn radio and the batteries. Can't you just take a Ranger handbook? It's this big. It's all the same shit. And it's one little... He wouldn't have it. He's like, no, I need these books. So I'm like, you motherfucker. Okay. So I threw the books in there, and off we went. That went on for about a week. We got back from Yakima. And we would do some other training bullshit. He would make me carry their radio and all their crap and his fucking books. I'm like, why don't you carry your own fucking books? He's like, well, that's why I'm lieutenant. You're a fucking PFC. You just carry the books. I'm like, okay, motherfucker, game on. And I would fuck with this guy ruthlessly. Everything that he had, everything that he left out, I drew a penis in the corner. Now, I could draw a penis that fast. Okay, I drew it on all his maps, on virtually every page, just in the little tiny one up in each corner of the fucking book. But I didn't do it to the books I had on me. I did it to the books he kept in his office. So I always had like a little bit of, I don't know what you're talking about, it's not me. A couple times, we're out in the field, and he would rack out, and I would take his map out of his fucking cargo pocket, and I'd already prepared a similar map, but on the back of that map, I'd annotated a bunch of fucking dick pics and shit like that, and dudes fucking rammed each other in the ass that we got out of Playboy Penthouse or what have you. And, I put them on there, and I would take the maps out, and I would mark them exactly how he had them on his map. So when he opened it up, he would see his own, grease pencil markers, and he would think it was his. I'd fold it up, put it right back where I found it. The other map would, go to one of the squad leaders who knew exactly what I was fucking doing, because they knew I was pissed off about the whole thing, but it is what it is. And I remember, because the RTO is always standing next to the lieutenant, I walk up there, and right behind my lieutenant, and he's talking to the company commander, and the commander's like, hey, pull out your map. And he pulls out his map, and then the commander sees his fucking his fucking dick pics. And then the commander's like, Lieutenant, is there something here that you're not telling me? And he's like, what are you talking about? I don't know. Oh my God. He's like, I don't know what this got in. And he's like, I understand. So he folds it back up, and he's like, question me, where the fuck did that come from? Did you do that? I'm like, sir, you've had the map in your pocket the entire time. I don't know who you think I am, but I'm not a magician. And he was missing a couple of cylinders anyway, so I think he believed it. And it kind of escalated from there, because this is before PowerPoint. You actually had those thin plastic things. And he would have to go up to battalion and have his acetates and make them. And like literally, I did this to him all the time, that he would brief by exception. In the corner of almost every acetate that he had, I had drawn a penis in the upper corner. So literally, he'd get up there, he'd throw it on there, and he'd go through what our plans are, whatever the fuck they're on the acetate. And he would literally, all right, sir, disregard the penis in the corner. And he would brief around it like it was no big deal. And it kind of got out a little bit that that there was some kind of animosity going on between the enlisted and lieutenant. And I don't know, our company commander loved it, because he loved hearing the stories of how he was getting fucked with. And I remember, I almost got caught doing this time, but lieutenant went in the building. It was the end of the day, and he was on his way home. And he pulled back and he forgot something, and he ran back in the company area. And I ran down there with a black China marker. And I drew on his rear view mirror a penis, and on each one of his side view mirrors. And I ran back to my quad. I went up. I'm on the second floor drinking a fucking cup of cocoa, and I watch him. He comes out to his car, starts it up, drives and stops. Then he looks at me, and I'm like, he waves. I'm like, oh, yes, sir. Yeah. That went on like that for quite some time. Now, let's fast forward this about 25 years. You know, I'm in the 414 Civil Affairs Battalion out of Southfield, Michigan. And I go up to Eastern Michigan State to talk to the ROTC program. And lo and behold, my lieutenant was now a lieutenant colonel. And he never got a battalion command, so he was getting retired. So they're having an award ceremony for him. And I remember I talked to the sergeant major who was running the whole thing, and I told him the whole story, and he's just like, "That's beautiful." So literally, I took an acetate, and I drew a fucking penis on it, and the sergeant major uploaded it up into the PowerPoint presentation that, you know, as they're doing his thing, they're showing him being lieutenant, and they're going through his whole deal and all these little pictures and blah, blah, blah. And he gets to the end, and he's like, yeah, I'm retiring. He's doing this whole deal. Then that one last fucking slide, boom, and there's a penis. And everyone starts giggling, and he turns around, and he looks at it, and then he looks out in the audience, and I stand up, and he's like, I knew it was you! 25 some odd years later, I finally gave myself up for drawing a penis all over her shit. So we went out that night after, you know, like 6 o'clock, we started drinking. And we drank until we closed the goddamn bar, and we were so goddamn drunk, his wife had to come get him. And like literally, I'm in the back seat, and she's bitching at him, and he's just like, this is Sergeant Pop, used to be my RTO, drew penises all over my shit. And his wife is like, well, that was you? Oh, because apparently he'd been talking about this for 20-some odd goddamn years, how he could never really figure out who was doing it. Anyway, it was me, sir. Should have carried the Ranger handbook, and it never would have happened. All right, moving on. You know, I didn't really have a lot of time off in the beginning when I was in the 9th ID, but the time off that I did get, I focused it on something pretty productive. I got into scuba diving. I still do it from time to time to this day. You know, I got my shit in the other room. I probably got to change all my rubber seals and stuff because, you know, running out of air at 60 feet down kind of sucks. So I went through all the scuba shit. One of my buddies in my unit was also doing the scuba thing. And we would go diving in the Puget Sound, which was cool in the beginning, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can only see the same shit over and over again. So we decided that we were gonna, you know, just get into catching some crabs or shrimp or something and cook it up. And we did that a couple times, and it was fucking outstanding. So we had made friends with one of the E5s that worked up at the chow hall, and we were talking to him about, you know, when they get rid of food and stuff. And I don't know, in the Army, when that shit fucking expires by regulations, they throw that shit out, right? Hamburgers, chicken, whatever. If it's not used by the expiration date, at least back in the day, I don't know how they do it now, which I'm pretty sure it's the same, they throw that shit out. So we would find out, they would usually do this, I think, on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So we'd be hanging out back there, and I remember the mess sergeant, this E6, he have the tray full of, like one of those rolling bins full of fucking old fucking meat. And I'd be like, hey, can we have some of that? We're going to use it to, you know, when we go scuba diving. He'd say, hey, listen, I can't give you this, but I'm going to walk it right over to that garbage can. I'm going to throw it in that dumpster, and whatever happens to it, happens to it. So we're like, okay. So we pulled, the car around, and he would throw the stuff in there. I'm like, okay, sausage patties, chicken, might get a shark. Oh yeah, ground beef's great. You know, and we would let it thaw down a little bit, and we would smash it up into this fucking nasty goulash of shit. And we used to go out to the old, I think they're herring pens. I don't remember. I never drove there at that time, so. But there was an old pier, and it was kind of half rotted, but it went out about 300-400 meters into the water. So we would go down there, on each side, we'd throw all this fucking shit out there. And then we'd, put up a shelter half and, a rack out right there, drinking beer, have a fire, just up on the high tide mark, and we would chill. And the next morning, right around 9:30, 10 o'clock, we would put on all that fucking scuba shit. And there was no limit at that time on red rock crabs. Okay, and some of them got pretty big. And we would go out there and just kill them. I mean, we would pull out, I don't know, inside of 40 minutes, every time we would go in there, we'd pull out 6 to 8 crabs apiece. And we would start this big pot boiling, and we'd come right up out there and just throw the fucking shit, all the crabs in there, boil them down, and then, we brought tubs of butter and beer, and we'd eat all that shit. And it's really weird, because you eat like that, it's high-fat diet, totally awesome, tasted great. But you're drinking beer, you're eating that stuff, and then you're breathing all that compressed air. So, like right around lunch-ish, we'd eat like our lunch meal of crab meat, and then we'd go into this fucking torpor coma for like 3 hours. Wake up at like 3 o'clock, and it's not like a nap. It's kind of like the sleep you used to have when you were a kid, where you sleep so deep you couldn't even move your fucking hands, and you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh shit, oh fuck. That's what it was like. It was fucking. I've never, to this day, ever experienced anything as content as that. And then we'd go back and do the same thing for fucking dinner, and we would fucking stay there from Friday night till Sunday after fucking noon, pack up all our shit, and go back to the barracks. Let me tell you, that was some good fucking times right there. Good fucking times. This is actually kind of a creepy story. We're about 1.5 miles down from where we used to do our, typical, crab trapping or whatever we want to call it. And we were catching shrimp. And you got to go down 30 feet-ish, and then there was some old piers, and the logs had fallen over. So when you're going over them, it does this. And in between those, the shrimp would kind of, hang out. And we used to have we'd rent these slurp guns. They're like, plastic, clear plastic, and you get them close to the shrimp, and you pull them up, and you put them in your basket, and you do all that. And we were doing that for a while, and we kind of went down, and we were right around 55, 60 feet-ish, and that's where the visibility gets real shitty. And we kept hearing these, the clicks and whirls of whales. Now, they sounded, like they were far away. But come to think about it, I live in the air. I don't live in the water. So what the fuck was I thinking? I didn't really know how far away these fucking whales were until I turned the fuck around. Because literally, I turn around, and you could just see the outline of the killer whale, right? It's very, very faint. And you just see that one fucking eye looking at us like, and I don't speak whale, but I had a feeling that he was seriously like, should I eat these motherfuckers or what? And luckily, the inside of my BC was like a fluorescent yellowish, so in case you get in trouble, you can open it up, and the fucking Coast Guard can find you. So that's all I could think of, is I just opened the vest, and as soon as that fucking whale saw the yellow, it kicked its fucking back tail, and it just took off. Now that fucking whale had so much motherfucking power. It did one fucking swish of its fucking tail, and literally I could feel the water around me, the water on my bones, and everything just implode and explode. It's like boom, boom. I was like, holy fuck. I surface, my buddy's with me, and I look at him, I'm like, I think I'm done for the day. We're done. He's like, yeah, I think we're done. Needless to say, we probably had to wash out our wetsuits, because I think we both peed just a wee little bit. Just a wee little bit, Not going to say I'm not a proud man, but, when looking down a wild killer whale, it's thinking it may or may not want to fucking eat the fuck out of you. I think I did okay. Anyway, I got some more of these coming up. I'll talk to you later. You have a good evening.